Robstown. And hello to beautiful Corpus Christi. Thank you very much. What a nice crowd. What a lot of wind. What a lot of wind. Thank you very much, everybody. Let's have a little fun. Let's have a little fun. We have a bad subject because you look at what's happening to our country. It's a bad subject, but we're going to make the best of that, and we're going to be stronger than ever before soon. What's happened to our country is a disgrace, but I'm thrilled to be back with the proud, hardworking American patriots of the great state of Texas. We love Texas. Wow. We ran twice and we won it twice in landslides. I don't know. They say that Texas going blue. It's not going blue. I know it's Trump. It's Trump. It's not going blue that I know of. They think it's going blue in their imaginations. And they said that before our race, remember? We think Texas is going blue. And then we won in a landslide. They said, well, we'll have to use that again the next time. But during the primaries, MAGA went undefeated in Texas, 33-0. 33-0. And every single candidate I endorse, think of this, oh, they owe me if I wanted to do something, but I don't do that because I'm an honest person. Every single candidate that I endorse won their race. That's really great. And we take it very seriously. It's a very serious thing. Thank you. Wow, that's a big crowd back there. Took a little while for the sound to catch up. And this November 8th, the MAGA movement is going to deliver yet another Texas-sized landslide. We have to. We have no choice. 17 days from now, the people of Texas are going to defeat Beto O'Rourke, a flake. He's a flake. He's a flake. You know, there's another flake. He actually had the name Flake, so that was easy. And we're going to keep Greg Abbott, a wonderful man, a great governor. We're going to keep him in the governor's mansion. And Greg, we love him. I'll tell you, he does a tremendous job. You're going to reelect your absolutely amazing lieutenant governor, a man named Dan Patrick. Has anyone ever heard of Dan Patrick? Where's Dan? Where is Dan? Dan is over there. His son. The only person maybe better than him is his son. He was U.S. attorney, I tell you. And Dan's happy to hear that, right? Somebody else would say, a lousy father. Oh, that's a terrible thing he said about me. No, you're happy, right? But your son is great and brilliant, and so are you, and thank you very much. Dan Patrick. And, you know, a man, I wish I had him in the White House with me. Re-elect the great Ken Paxton. I wish I had him as Attorney General. You're going to vote for an incredible slate. Ken, thank you very much. Where's Ken, by the way? Oh, I wish I had you in there for a little while, Ken. He's tough. He was tough. He would have figured out that voter fraud in about 2 minutes. You're going to vote for an incredible slate of true America First Republicans up and down the ballot, and we are going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi, and she's nuts. She's crazy. We're going to end her political career. Her political career is going to be ended once and for all under Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the radical Democrat Congress. The Texas way of life is under siege. Biden and the far-left lunatics are waging war on Texas energy workers. Can you believe this? They're against oil, God, and guns. And then they say they're going to do well in Texas. I don't think so. They're crushing your oil and gas jobs, imposing massive taxes and restrictions on the American energy production and population. They're destroying your jobs and destroying our country in doing it, and strangling American families with soaring prices. We've never had energy anywhere near these prices. We can be the only ones that when energy, oil hits an all-time high, we announce we're not drilling. It's supposed to be the other way, right? Energy is at an all-time high. Oh, good. It's a great time to stop drilling. That's wonderful. What a group, right? Let's open up the borders. Let millions of people pour in. Let convicts, prisoners come in from 129 different countries, murderers, rapists. They're going to come in from 129 different countries. Think of it. How stupid can we be? How stupid are these people that are allowing our country to be ruined? Inflation is costing the typical Texas household nearly $800 every single, not year would be bad, but month. How about that? And that's a stat that's put out by our government. In fact, it's put out by the federal government, so therefore it's probably much higher. Your border has been completely erased, and violent crime in Houston, Dallas, Austin, and other Democrat-run cities is totally out of control. There's only one way to end this. This is madness. What's happening to our country is madness. If you support the decline and fall of America, then vote for the radical left Democrats. If you want our country to fail, vote Democrat. If you want to stop the destruction of our country and save the American dream, which you don't even hear too much, but 2 years ago you heard about it every single hour. But if you want to hear about the American dream and make it come true, as we made it come true just a little while ago, remember, 2 years ago, we had the strongest border in the country's history. Now we have the worst border in our history. So go out and vote up and down the slate. Vote for Republicans, good, great Republicans. There is no more urgent task for the voters of Texas, and you lead the way. I mean, you're just an incredible group of people. You are tough and brave and brilliant. But for the future of our country, then to stop the invasion. You know, it's an invasion, just like an army is invading us, and you have criminals coming in. That's like an army, and they get their arms. If they don't have the arms, they get them real fast, but they're invading our southern border. We had it stopped. Biden has allowed millions and millions of illegal aliens to storm across the border from 160 as of this moment. We have the great Tom Homan with us. I asked him, how many countries, Tom? He actually said 181. We wanted to be very conservative. 160 countries. They're storming our country. They include Syria, Somalia, Yemen, Russia, China, Iran, all of Africa. They're storming our country. They're storming our borders. We have no idea who they are, where they come from. Biden, Pelosi, the radical Democrats spend all of their time obsessing over the borders of distant foreign nations. Think of it. They talk about foreign nations, but Americans deserve a Congress and a president who will protect the borders of our nation. We deserve a government that will defend our own sovereignty, secure our own land, stand up for our own families, and protect the people of our country. It's called a very simple policy, America First. You know, I watched Biden and some of the people in his administration. How dare they say America First? I said, wait a minute, it says America First. What's wrong? The greatest is when they say, we will stop MAGA. I said, do you know what MAGA means? Some of them actually don't. No, they don't. It means make America great again. We will stop MAGA. We're going to stop it. I saw that. They said, we're going to stop MAGA. We're going to stop the MAGA movement. I don't think they know what it means. Make America great. How do you do that? Even if you want to stop it, you just don't say you want to stop Make America Great Again. Even if you do, you just say, all you do is say, we disagree with their policies. Much better. We will stop MAGA. You hear that, Doc Ronnie? I don't think you'd say that. Where's Doc Ronnie? Stand up, Doc Ronnie. We love this guy. He said I was the healthiest president in history. Doc Ronnie. Doc Ronnie said, I just see him sitting. He's a handsome guy. His wife's actually better looking. And his kids are better looking than both of them, okay? But Doc Ronnie said I was the healthiest president in history. And in fact, I said, hey, Ronnie, you know, they're trying to say bad things like I'm crazy, like I'm this, like I'm that. They actually tried the stupid thing. That didn't last too long, hopefully. But I said, is there some kind of a test we can take, a cognitive test, which our current president should be taking, but I don't think you're going to see it? Well, there is one, sir, but it's tough. And frankly, you know, it's at Walter Reed, which is incredible, by the way, an incredible hospital. And, you know, it's public, or it can be very easily made public. You know, in this country, they leak all over the place, even on the Supreme Court. By the way, you have to find the leaker of the Supreme Court. You have to find the leaker. You know how you find the leaker? They'll say, oh, this is treasonous, what I said. So they can't find the leaker. He leaked all about Roe v. Wade. Look, this person leaked from the Supreme Court, never happened. You know how you find? But they don't want to mention this because they think it's so terrible. You take the writer, because you're never going to find it. They're going through phone records. It's been a long time. You take the writer and or the publisher of the paper, a certain paper that you know, and you say, who is the leaker? National security. And they say, we're not going to tell you. They say, it's okay, you're going to jail. And when this person realizes that he is going to be the bride of another prisoner very shortly, he will say, I'd very much like to tell you exactly who that leaker is. It was Bill Jones. I swear he's a leaker. And we got him. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that, but that's the only way you're going to find. We have to find. Can you imagine they leak out of the Supreme Court? Never happened. A thing like that never happened before. You have to get the writer, and you have to tell the writer, look, here's the story, the national security. You have to do this, and the publisher too, or the top editors. Just think, this year more Americans will die of fentanyl and drug overdose than the number of Ukrainians killed in a gruesome and bloody war. Yet Biden and the radical Democrats do nothing to stop the death and devastation that we have happening right here at home. They've deliberately surrendered our border to vicious coyotes and drug smugglers. I mean, these drug smugglers, a smuggler is a vicious, horrible, oftentimes very smart person. And what we do is we set up blue ribbon committees composed of some nice dilettantes, you know, nice, gentle people. Tell us about what to do about the coyotes and the cartels and all of this. And now you have to do something very strong. It's called the death penalty, and you're going to have no drug problem. You're going to have crime will go down to a level that you haven't seen. But you know, I see the blue ribbon committees because I get many calls. Oh, I'd love to serve on the committee on coyotes, on cartels. And these are not people that can do that job. They're very fine people in some cases, and some people just want the publicity. But we have to get very tough on that, and if you don't do the death penalty. You know, I was with President Xi of China, very tough, very tough. You could go all over Hollywood if you wanted to play the role of President Xi. I guess he just got elected for life, right? Somebody said, is President Xi smart? I said, yeah, he actually is, very smart, brilliant. And the fake news back there's a lot of them, the fake news. The fake news said, President Trump said the president of China, president for life of China. So I call him the king. He's the king of China, right? 1.5 billion people. He said he was smart. He might have even said he was brilliant. How dare he say that? Oh, okay. He's in charge of 1.5 billion people. They want me to say, no, he's not a smart person. It was just luck. But I said to him, let me ask you, do you have a drug problem in China? And he looked at me like, what the hell stupid question is that? Of course we don't. He actually did. He said, no. He goes, no. What's wrong? Why do you ask such a stupid question? But I said, no, you don't. You have 1.5 billion people. You have no drug problem. The only problem they have is they make the drugs and send them here, which they were stopping with me. I said, don't do that. You can't do the fentanyl. They make the fentanyl and send it through our horribly run southern border. But I said, so you don't have, right? You don't have, why? Quick trial. What's a quick trial? I thought I knew what a quick trial was, but I said, what is it? When we catch a drug dealer, we give them a trial quickly, and if they're guilty, they get executed. And they send the bullet to the family, and they want the family to pay for the cost of the bullet. This is called not playing around. So you know what the drug dealers do? Let's get the hell out of here. They don't do it there, and they don't do it in Singapore and other countries too. And if you want to stop the drug epidemic in this country, you better do that. And it's a hard thing to mention. It's a hard thing to talk about. And it doesn't sound nice. A lot of these people back there that hate our country, they're saying, like, you know, many of the fake news. They say, oh, that's terrible that he's talking about that. Each drug dealer, over a period of their life, his or her life, will kill 500 people, Americans mostly. 500, think of it. So we have to put an end to it. And all these phony committees and all the things that we do, we're trying to play nice, but you can't play nice. These are smart, vicious, tough, people, the cartels, they own now Mexico. I mean, they're running Mexico, and the president is a very good friend of mine, but it's a very tough thing happening. It's the most unsafe country anywhere in the world, Mexico, rated #1 most unsafe. Worse than Afghanistan, you believe it? Because of the drugs. And the drugs are all, most of it are pouring right into our country. So we better get smart. And if we do something that I think most of the people in this audience want, we're going to get that done. We're going to get that done. We have no choice. You know, much of our crime, Dan, I think you know this, much of our crime is caused by drugs, even if it's not, you don't think of it as drugs, but a lot of the crime that we have, the robberies and all of the different things that's caused by drugs, you end that, you end the drug situation coming into our country, you'll end 75, 80% of the crime coming into our country. So we better get smart and tough and start using a little common sense, right? Not conservative, common sense. Somebody said, are you a conservative? I said, well, I am, but I'm a person with a lot of common sense. That's why we had such a successful country 2 years ago, energy independent, no inflation, little things like that. Since the end of the Trump administration, the drug cartels have seen their revenue skyrocket by an astounding 2,500%. If they were a Wall Street company, their stock would be through the roof. From $500 million to last year, $13 billion in 1 year. This is what they're making. The choice this November is simple. Democrats will defund the police. Republicans will defund the cartels. Under my leadership, we waged a very tough war on the cartels. We ended catch and release. We stopped asylum fraud. We deported illegal alien gang members by the thousands and thousands. We sent them back, got them the hell out of our country. And the other countries didn't want to take them back, but we were giving them a lot of money. I said, how much money do we give El Salvador and Honduras and these various countries? They said, sir, approximately $750 million a year. I said, that's a lot. So I said, what's the problem? They said, they won't take them back. They won't take MS-13 back, sir. They will not do it. They're not going to take them back, sir. They've told us no. They wouldn't do it under the Barack Hussein Obama administration. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. So I said, that's when I said, how much do we pay them? You know what they do? When we fly in with a plane, they'd put planes on the runway so that we couldn't land. When the buses came in, they'd stop them at the border, send them back to, they didn't want their MS-13 people back, even though they came from various places. So I said, here's what you do. We give them $750 million a year. Tomorrow, put out a statement, or today, I think I said today, like this afternoon, put out a statement that we're not paying them anymore. We're not paying them anymore. And we did, and the following morning I got a call from the 3 primary countries, and Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. President, we understand you're unhappy. I said, well, you won't take MS-13 back, Uncle Sam. Look at Uncle Sam. Stand up, Uncle Sam. He's the greatest. They're trying to cancel Uncle Sam. You know that, right? Uncle Sam is no longer politically correct. You're always going to be politically correct. No, they want to cancel. But they said, President, we understand you're unhappy. I said, yeah, you won't take back the people that you send. Because they send them. They don't just come. They send them. They make it easy for them. They send them. Don't be stupid. They keep their good people. They fight like hell that the good people don't leave. The bad people, they say, send them to the stupid people at the United States. They'll take them. And you see what they're doing, what they're building for them? They're living better than our soldiers. They're living better than our veterans. They're living better than the people in our country. They're building things that are beautiful. But they said, we hear you have. I said, look, here's the story. You're not getting any more money. You're not getting anything. What you're doing to us, and then you don't let us send them back. The people of ICE are incredible. The Border Patrol is incredible. All of the law enforcement's incredible. I said, you won't take them back. And they said, this is going on for 10 years. You're not taking them back, so they come in here. You won't allow them back. And you know what? I think you're very smart in doing that. But here's the story. We're not paying you $750 million a year. President, may we call you back in 10 minutes? Absolutely. Calls me back in 10 minutes. President, we've decided that it would be an honor to take MS-13 back to our country. It would be a great, great honor. We will take them back, sir, and we will do it. Please. I mean, they'd build new airports if we needed it. So this is what happens. We have people that just don't know what the hell they're doing. It's so sad to watch what's happening to our country. Our country has never been so low. It's a laughingstock all over the world. We built hundreds of miles of border wall, and despite 2.5 years of Democrat lawsuits, they tried to stop it. I won all of the lawsuit. We finished the first phase of the wall. Then I said, let's add some more. We added 200 miles more, and we would have had more than that. And that's when I got the distinct impression that they were actually serious about not wanting to close up the border because they refused. In fact, Texas wanted to finish up the wall, and they wouldn't let them use the wall that was already built and sitting there ready to be installed. In 3 weeks, the additional wall that I didn't even say we were going to do, but we needed it, was going to be built. The wall is why we had the best numbers in the history of our country. We had very few people relatively coming in, and we really stopped human trafficking to a large extent, and we stopped drugs. But we're proud to be joined tonight by two rock-solid defenders of America's sovereign borders, and this guy is an amazing guy. He's a friend of mine, and the people that work with him at the top and everybody in there is just incredible. President of the National Border Patrol Council, Mr. Brandon Judd. He's fantastic. Where's Brandon? Come here. Come here. And also, they're so important, and you know, they're heroes, and they get treated very badly. Oh, but I get treated worse than anybody in history, so I got like 400 investigations. A friend of mine said, you are the most honest person in history. Why? He said, you've been under investigation for 5, 6, 7 years. They got nothing, okay? They looked at 11 million pages of documents. They got nothing, these people. They're a bunch of bad people. They've weaponized this stuff. It's terrible. But Brandon Judd has done an incredible job. And another person that is, I mean, this guy is central casting. Tom Homan, acting director of ICE. There was nobody better, tougher, or smarter when it came to the border. And all Biden had to do is just say, all he had to do is go to the beach. He could have stayed in Delaware even. He could have stayed in his basement like he did during the campaign. He could have stayed because the border was in great shape and only getting better. And Tom Homan, come up wherever you are, Tom Homan. And Brandon, say a couple of words, please.
You gotta love the business mind. You have to love that. Nobody in the history brought a business mind to the White House. He cut through the bureaucracy. He cut through all of the BS, the red tape. He implemented policies immediately. It didn't take years, it didn't take months, it took days. And those policies saved your lives, your children's lives, your grandchildren's lives, your friends' lives, your neighbors' lives. That's what he did. And that's what we hope you're gonna do again. Thank you.
Well, look, I think I told you earlier during my speech, I was pretty clear. President Trump was one badass president. You know, I joined the Border Patrol in 1984. I've enforced immigration law for over 34 years. I worked for 6 different presidents. No president did more to secure our border than President Trump. Bottom line. And I'll share with you what I told the president a few weeks ago in Las Vegas. He comes back, I come back.
That's a good deal. Tell you one thing, the problem will end on day one. So Tom and Brandon, we thank you and we salute every hero of ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement generally. I took a lot of pictures back there with your sheriffs, and we had some incredible conversations. The law enforcement of this country is great. We have to let them do their job. They will straighten it out. They're incredible people. We have to protect them, too. We have to help them. Thanks to the open borders policies of the radical Democrats, every day Texas communities suffer the spilling of innocent blood and the killing of innocent life like you've never seen before. It's never happened anywhere near what's happening now. The numbers are higher than they've ever been by far. Just a few days ago, an illegal alien in McGregor, Texas, was charged with the savagely murdering a 38-year-old woman and her 2 teenage children, beautiful children, and then continuing his deadly rampage in the house next door. Then he went to another one and another one before he was caught. He was massacring helpless people, including a 47-year-old woman and her precious 20-year-old daughter, a beautiful daughter, who was studying to become a doctor, doing really well, top of her class, before driving down the street wildly firing gunshots, wounding yet another innocent victim, was finally caught. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, because they catch him now, and then they release him, the Democrats. In El Paso this month, 3 illegal aliens were arrested for the brutal murder of a 28-year-old man after shooting him multiple times and dumping his body on the side of the road. And last year in Harris County, 2 illegal alien MS-13 animals were convicted of kidnapping 3 teenage girls, raping them, and sadistically murdering the 15-year-old girl in a horrific satanic ritual. When the Republicans retake control of Congress, we must immediately force the restoration of every single Trump border security. We have Trump border security measure. We want every one of those measures, every one of those beautiful, powerful, and very fair measures that achieve the strongest border in history. We want them put back in place. Instead of doubling the number of IRS agents who are allowed to carry guns. Okay, so we have 88,000. They're allowed to carry guns, and yet they want to terminate your Second Amendment, including Beto O'Rourke. He wants to knock out your Second Amendment. But instead of the 88,000 IRS agents gun carrying, we should double the number of ICE and Border Patrol agents. Double them quickly, right? And we should pass emergency funding to give our Texas border communities the security, resources, and help they so dearly deserve. You know, the border is an amazing thing. I got a call from the governor on election evening late, and he said, you know, you did something that we never thought was possible. I said, what's that? He said, you won every border town, every single border town with the Hispanics. You won every single one. And he said, that hasn't happened since the Civil War. Can you believe that? He said, that hasn't happened. It's such an honor. We started this whole thing, and now it's really picking up steam. In Florida, they gave me the Bay of Pigs Award. That was a big deal, actually, the Bay of Pigs. They didn't give it to a Democrat. They gave it to Trump. Our support for strong border security is one of the major reasons why Hispanic Americans are joining our movement by the millions and millions and millions. In 2020, I was honored to earn the highest percentage of Latino votes of any Republican in really decades. Decades, I think, right, Ronnie? And I became the first Republican to win Zapata County in 100 years. Zapata. 100 years. But it's true, that's a great honor. These are great people. These are hardworking people. And you know what they want? They want security. Very entrepreneurial people. They really are. They're becoming a real part of the Republican Party. It's incredible. This has all happened over the last few years. The Republican Party is now the proud home of a new generation of Hispanic leaders like Cassie Garcia. Where is she? Cassie Garcia. Monica de la Cruz. A real star, Mayra Flores. Thank you. Who recently became the first Republican ever to win her congressional district on the border. First ever. She's fantastic. Smart. All of them. To every Hispanic American in Texas, Arizona, and all across our land, we welcome you to our party and to our movement with open, beautiful, strong arms. So I want to thank you all, because together we will make America great and glorious again. Among our first and most crucial tasks is to make America safe again. We can't have a great country if we're not safe. If people walk down the street and they get slugged from behind by some maniac. Under the radical left Democrats, the streets of our cities are ruled by bloodthirsty gangs and violent criminals like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Austin set an all-time record for homicides. Last year, an all-time record, not even close, by the way. And the number of Hispanic murder victims nationwide is up 40% plus. They think it's at least 40%. With a Republican Congress, we must also pass critical funding to hire thousands more police officers nationwide to put violent criminals behind bars and keep them behind bars for a long time. We have to protect our police. Death penalty if you kill a police person. Death penalty. We need to leave our police alone and let them do their job. If you want safety for your family and security for your community, you need to know every Democrat out of office, you have to get them out. You have to know that every Democrat is against the things that the people here tonight, and this is an incredible crowd, the people here tonight. And that's 2 days notice. 2 days notice, it's happening like this all over the country, by the way, in all fairness. We were in Michigan, Arizona, we were all over the country. Nevada, we have massive crowds, everyone. We give them like 2 days notice, and we have thousands and thousands of people show up. But we want you to vote straight Republican up and down the ballot. One of the worst and most sinister aspects of the Biden administration is the complete and total corruption of our justice system and the rule of law. Before our very eyes, Biden and his left-wing handlers are turning America into a police state. And I don't even think it's Biden, to be honest with you. But they got some bad people around. Like something straight out of a communist country. See, I used to say socialist, but we've skipped socialism. We don't talk about that. I don't even mention it anymore. We're not socialists anymore. We're communists. We've gone over socialism. We're gone. It's over. It's communist. They're talking about communists. It's a communist system that we're putting up with right now. The radical Democrats are locking up pro-life activists, persecuting their political opponents, spying on their political rivals, silencing dissent, and using the full force of government, law enforcement, and the media to try and crush our movement. And let me tell you, the media is a big problem because they're corrupt and dishonest. As an example, all you have to do is look this week. The FBI paid $200,000 to one of its informants to help them obtain bogus FISA warrants against me and peddle the fake Russia hoax. Remember that? The little thing called, you notice nobody talks about it? And yet they gave out the Pulitzer Prize for reporting on the Russia hoax, okay? Reporting on Russia. So you have reporters from the Washington Post and New York Times that got Pulitzer Prizes, and they reported the exact wrong thing. So within the next 2 weeks, we're suing the Pulitzer organization to have those prizes taken back. We'll be doing that over the next 2 weeks. I think it's a very good lawsuit, but we'll see. But we're suing. Think of it. They got the Pulitzer Prize for wrong reporting. But other people should have gotten the Pulitzer Prize because, frankly, they got it right for years. And they don't do Pulitzer Prizes for guys like Sean Hannity, but they should, by a different name, and Tucker Carlson, and Jeanine Pirro, and Laura, and so many different people. But they don't get anything. They give Pulitzer Prizes to the people that got it wrong. Remember this. By allowing these people that got Russia wrong They're actually libeling me because they're saying they got it right. And it turned out to be a hoax, and everybody now has admitted it was a hoax. Even the Times and even the Washington Post, they said it's a hoax. So if it's a hoax, then let them give the Pulitzer Prizes back or take them back. They shouldn't be allowed to keep them. The FBI even offered, you saw this one last week, $1 million, found out by John Durham, to the author of the fake dossier. How about that fake dossier? You think it was great when I had to go home that night? Not so good. I'm sure you don't know what I'm talking about. That was not the greatest. Oh, Comey, who's the worst. Comey came in and told me. He came in, sir, they said this, so they said that. I didn't care about most of it. I didn't like the one thing, the golden you-know-what. I didn't like that. But our great First Lady said, that's one I don't believe, because he's a germ freak. I don't believe that. But they offered $1 million to the author of the fake dossier, Christopher Steele, a real lowlife, to corroborate his false story. They wanted it corroborated. They'll give him, think of that, they'll give him $1 million if he will say that we corroborate these facts are true. But he couldn't do it because they were untrue, and it was all against me. This is what I've been fighting. Can you believe this? What the hell kind of a life? I used to have such a nice life. What the hell did I do? I got these maniacs that are looking to destroy our country. Right, Doc Ronnie? They're looking to destroy our country. Look, they're not stupid people. Well, some are, actually, but they're not stupid people. So they can only, either they're stupid or they're looking to destroy, because who wants this stuff to happen? Who wants this to happen? Who wants to have open borders? Who wants to have no voter ID? Who wants to have, they don't want anybody talking about whether or not you're a citizen when they go in to vote. No citizenship verification. They don't want anybody. Who wants this? Not even Democrats want it. If you poll it, not even Democrats want it. It's a shame. So I don't believe they're stupid, so therefore they're trying to destroy our country, because it can only be one of those two things. Every freedom-loving American needs to understand the time to stand up to this growing tyranny is right now. It's right now. We got to do it. Just do it. So, like the January 6th committee of unselect political thugs, you know, January is the unselects. I never got any credit. I think that was one of the great names, unselects. They're unselect. It's supposed to be, there's the select committee of political, By the way, how did Liz Cheney do it? She lost by 40 points. And then the corrupt press, they say, Liz Cheney, we believe, has a great future in politics. She lost by 40 points, the single biggest margin a congressman or woman has ever lost by in history. And then they say, we feel she has a fine future in politics. I don't think so. But January, all she does is January 6th. She's like obsessed. So here, and Kinzinger crying, he cries every time he talks, he cries. These are the people we have. But remember this, January 6th, this committee, the two things they didn't talk about, two things, was that the people went down there and you could have had over 1 million people. Wow, that's so beautiful. You know, when this whole big group stood up, I said, oh, we have protesters. And you know what? They are protesting. They're protesting what's taking place in our country, and it's so bad and so wrong. It is a protest. So the Unselect Committee of political hacks and thugs, and they're all hacks, the same people that did Russia, you know, Shifty Schiff, Shifty Adam Schiff, what a sleazebag he is. And all these people, the same people that did the Russia hoax, and then when they realize it's a hoax, they realize they knew from the beginning, they made it up, it was all made up. But when they get caught, a couple of days go by, then they start the Ukraine, they start the Mueller deal, these are the same people, these people are sick. They should spend time on trying to make our country great, not this crap. All they do is investigate. We're like a nation all we do is investigate. And frankly, if that ever started, boy, would they be in trouble, because what they've done in so many ways, including what they've done to our country, to destroy our country. But remember this, and I'm going to get off the subject, but January 6th was caused because of a crooked, stolen election, and they don't even talk about it during the January 6th committee hearings. Never even discussed. So they don't discuss that. And what's the second thing they don't discuss? Nancy Pelosi is in charge of security in the Capitol. Ronnie knows this better than anybody. There he is. And they don't discuss it at all because they said, hands off, we're not going to discuss that. I authorized from 10 to 20,000 troops, should they need them, 4 days, 3 days earlier. Nancy Pelosi didn't like the look, and she decided not to do it. They never discussed that, and they never discussed voter fraud, which is the reason that maybe over 1 million people. Do you ever see a picture? They don't show the pictures of the crowd that we spoke before, the crowd that I and other great patriots spoke before. They never talk about that, and they never talk about the fact that Nancy Pelosi refused to use the military. And they didn't need 10,000 to 20,000. If they had 500 people, it would have been more than enough. And January 6th would not have been January 6th as we know it. They never talk about, and they sent me a subpoena the other day. They sent me a subpoena. Think of it. These crooked people. And the only thing they don't they don't want to do, investigate. The only thing they don't want to do, they won't investigate, was the corruption that took place in that election, which was massive. And the facts are all there. We have so many for every single swing state. You take a look, and most of the people in this audience know it because you know a lot more. And these people back there, they don't want to cover it. And that's the problem that we have with our country right now, because the fake news will not even talk about it. And if you talk about it, if you're an anchor like Lou Dobbs, who's great, if you're an anchor and you know it's right and you talk about it, you lose your job, you get fired. It's a disgrace. If you want to save your rights and liberties, you have to start by dealing a crushing rebuke to the radical left maniacs that we're dealing with in this election. These are maniacs. For 6 straight years, the witch hunts, hoaxes, abuses have been coming fast and furious, mostly aimed at me. Isn't that nice? What a wonderful life. Our great First Lady said, what a wonderful job. This is so lovely. Every day you get a subpoena. If I fly over a Democrat state in my little plane that we flew over did you see that? Right, my man? If we fly over a Democrat state, I get a grand jury subpoena. I said, what happened? What'd you do? Sir, they're investigating you. You flew over the state. They think something's up. They've been looking at me for a long time, Doc Ronnie. I'll tell you what, they found nothing. They have found one thing, I will say. They found that I, like you, am a great patriot. That's what they found. It's a disgrace what's going on. Like the boxes hoax. Have you looked at the boxes hoax, okay? This is a new one. The boxes, Mar-a-Lago. Have you seen the last 5 or 6 presidents, what they did? They took it. They're in Chinese laundries, they're stored. They're in storage houses where the windows and doors are broken. It's a disgrace. But if your name's Trump, you have to take a look at it. Read Greg Jarrett's piece. It's a disgrace what's going on in our country. So first we learned they spied on my campaign. Could you imagine if we spied on, let's say, Obama's campaign, okay? Let's say we spied. They would reinstitute the death penalty. With me, it's, well, I don't know. With us, they call it a conspiracy theory. No, they spied on our campaign, and we caught them. Remember a long time ago, I put out, they spied on my campaign, and everyone said, what a horrible thing to say. If that ever happened to Obama or a Democrat, forget about Biden. Don't even talk about Biden. Any Democrat, if that ever happened, it would be the biggest story in history. Think of it. They spied on a president's campaign, including for a period of time when he was in the White House. That's the biggest story of our time, and these crooked reporters don't want to even talk about it. Then they lied to Congress many times. Comey and all those guys, they lied to Congress. You know that many times. And then they lied to the FISA court many, many times. And they created a fake dossier that was done and paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton, the Democrats, Democratic National Committee. It was all paid for by the Democrat Party, the Democrat National Committee, and crooked Hillary. And yet after all of that, these same people, they come after me. They spied on my campaign, they come after me. And we have attorney generals that didn't have the courage to do what they had to do because he didn't want to be impeached. Please don't impeach me. You know how he doesn't get impeached? To say, oh, I think the election was perfect. It was so wonderful. Check out Detroit, check out Philadelphia, check out Atlanta. It's a disgrace. No, it's a disgrace. That's why when I hear about Ken Paxton and I see Ken Paxton shouldn't even have a race. He's done such a great job. He shouldn't even have a race. Stand up, Ken. Where the hell are you, Ken? He shouldn't even have a race. I would have been proud to have him in the White House. He wouldn't have done that. How do you not get impeached? They wanted to impeach our Attorney General. How do you not get impeached? All you do is say, oh, the election was wonderful. Then they say, we're not impeaching this guy. Man, we just hit pay dirt. Remember, it was Russia, Russia, Russia. Ukraine, 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 and then the Mueller witch hunt, where the conclusion was no collusion. You think Biden could say that? I don't think so. The conclusion. Think of that. The conclusion was no collusion. That would be a tough one. If they wrote that for Biden, that would be the end of their job. He'd still be trying to figure it out. And then they had impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, the censorship of the Biden family corruption story as Russian disinformation by the FBI and Facebook. So the FBI goes up to Facebook and to other media, people back there, and says that the laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, even though they knew it was untrue. This is what we're dealing with. And nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing happens to them. It's a disgrace. Our country is very sick. And that made a 17-point difference, they say, according to John McLaughlin and Tony Fabrizio and a lot of the great pollsters. It made from 10 to 17 points, but it made a tremendous difference. Didn't matter. We got more votes than we needed anyway. They just cheated. They would have figured a way to cheat that, too. That's why we have to be careful with this election, that they're not allowed to cheat. They cannot be allowed to cheat again. And then it was the Unselect Committee of Political Hacks and Thugs, and also appalling misconduct by the racist and incompetent New York State Attorney General. She's incompetent. Letitia Peekaboo James, who is presiding over record numbers of murders, rapes, drug deals, and every other form of crime in our once great New York State, but only spends her time going after me. Let's go after Trump. We have this woman, Peekaboo James. She goes out. She runs on getting Trump. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. She doesn't know anything about me. She just sees my name. I'm going to get him. Years and years, and yet you have people being murdered in the street. And there was no crime. I did nothing wrong. But you have people murdered on the street. You have drug dealers all over, and she couldn't care less. She's the worst, so we'll see what happens there with her election. I hear she's losing. Wouldn't that be amazing if she lost? And I hear Lee Zeldin is winning because you know what? The people of New York, just like the people in Texas and everywhere else, you're tired of crime. You don't want crime. You want to have low taxes. You want to have great education. You want to have a strong military. You want to have all the things that people with common, you know what you want? You want voter ID. You know what you really want? You want paper ballots and same-day voting with voter ID. Otherwise, you'll never get it straight. If you don't do that, France just had an election, 36 million people. It's a big nation. 36 million people voted by paper. They voted same day. And they have voter ID. And by 11 o'clock in the evening, there was a winner, there was a loser. Everyone went home, and they said, let's get them next time. But if you don't go to paper ballots, and if you don't go to voter ID, and if you don't go to same-day voting, these things that take place for over 48 days, sir, we have boxes stored in a storage room. Oh, where are they? Oh, well, they haven't been. We haven't seen them for a while, Mike, have we? Those boxes. Where are they right now? They seem to have disappeared, but we're going to get them back. We'll find them. 48 days of voting. Do you ever see anything so crazy? We have a corrupt country. We have a horrible border, and we have really sick elections. And nobody, one thing you've learned a lot from me. You've learned about those things, borders and elections. And I can't tell you which is worse, and I can't actually tell you which is more important. I think elections might even be more important than the border. Because if you get the right people, you'll solve the border problem. The radical left thinks by doing all these wicked and venomous things, they are making us weaker. But actually, they are making us stronger and more united than ever before. They're coming after me because I'm fighting for you, and that is true. Thank you, darling. Thank you. I'm glad you weren't protesters. This is a nice group. That was very well done. I didn't know what the hell happened. This group, what a great group of people. Where are you from? Where? That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. But we have to save our country. It's nice to say we love Trump. We have to save our country. By the way, I'm speaking to this group here. They stood up. It was so beautiful, actually. It was actually a beautiful moment. They're too smart to say bad things. It's too dangerous in this group to say bad things. You notice we don't have much of that. I haven't had that in 2 years. They used to, at the beginning, they'd stand up. We don't like you. The poor guys. Oh, it was terrible. Then I always got blamed, remember? But we haven't had that. You know, this country is really united. We have much more. It's not even close than 50%. I'm telling you, we have this country, and the country was really united, and I'm talking left and right. When we turned it around prior to COVID, we had every single group doing better than it had ever done in history. The country had done better than it had ever done in history. And people from the radical left were calling me to get together. I said, you know, because some people say to me, and I say to them, it would be great if we could unite everyone, the right and the left and everybody. And I never knew that it was going to be possible. But prior to our horrible, horrible gift that came out of the Wuhan labs of China, prior to China and the dust that they sent over, what a disgrace. And we're going to, someday, we're going to do something. Because what happened, what they've done to the world, forget about it. $60 trillion in damage. They cannot afford that, by the way, just so you know. But prior to that coming in, our country, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women, men, kids with a high school diploma, kids without a high school diploma, first in your class at the Wharton School of Finance, MIT, Harvard, people that didn't get a college diploma, every single group without even one, nobody, everybody was doing better than ever before by a lot. And I was getting calls from the radical left. Can we get together? And then that horrible thing happened The China virus, I call it, because I want to be accurate, not COVID-19. COVID-19, where does that come from? COVID, where does that come from? The China virus came in, and then we had to redo it again. And we did an incredible job with Operation Warp Speed and all of the things and the therapeutics. We did an incredible job. And when that horrible, fake, disgusting election took place, that was a horrible election. And by the way, much easier to concede than do what I do and you do and all of us do. But we can't let this stuff happen to our country. We're not going to have a country. And when that result took it and they took over, think of it. And remember, he was going to solve, we're going to have the vaccine out. We're going to have all this stuff done. It can take only more people died in that first year of him than under us. And it was getting much better. But think of it. With all of the things that happened, everything that happened, the stock market was higher when I handed it over than it was before, just prior to the China virus coming into our country. Think of that. We gave an unbelievable country back, and now our country is being destroyed. Energy is a disaster. Crime is a disaster. The border is a disaster. Our military is going woke. Our military is getting to be an embarrassment, and great people are leaving our military, and great people are leaving our law enforcement, too. To every citizen who is appalled by the radical left's lawlessness and corruption, this election is your chance to make your voice heard. You have to do it. You have to do it. With your vote, you can reject left-wing tyranny and proudly declare that America will always remain a free country. Got to be a free country. Tell you what, we're really on the borderline. I used to say during the 2016 election, well, we didn't do as well as the other one, frankly, but I used to say that if we don't get this right, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids. And that's where we're going. We're right now going to be soon Venezuela on steroids. You can take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have done the damage Joe Biden has done to our nation in less than 2 years. Let's take a look. By the way, we have a little video. Take a look at this.
How would you say your mental focus is?
It's focused. I haven't. Look.
Let's get ready to bumble!
I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. True international average of pressure. God, I can't believe I said that. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Y'all ready for this?
I was going to put him. And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. Wait. All men and women created by go. You know the thing. If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. We went for 2 reasons. One, to come on, man. The guy who runs that outfit over there. I've had a couple Washington, but the nature, not Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here. What am I doing here? Tucker. Yeah. I got hairy legs that turn. That. Thank you for tolerance, for listening to me. I appreciate it very much. What?
Thank you. Now, that's a very sad thing. You know, I looked I went through a list of the leaders, most of whom I know, and some I know very well, and any country you want to talk about. Those leaders are at the top. They're smart, they're tough, and they're for their country. It's their country first. And with us, it has to be our country first. But we have to have people that know what they're doing. They don't believe what's going on. I think the really ones that have respected us over the years, the ones that really think like America, they're smart. I'll tell you what, they respected us 2 years ago. They respected us like they never respected us. There was no games. Ukraine would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened. Energy prices would have never happened like they are. But they respected our nation. All of these things that we're looking at were self-made. They were unnecessary to happen. And what's going on now is so sad. But the other leaders, they think that we're playing, because they respected us for so many years, but especially in the last 4 or 5 years prior to this disaster happening, and they think we're playing four-dimensional chess. Does that make sense? They say, there's no way this is happening. That country is too smart. It's four-dimensional. President Xi probably has a meeting, and he says, wait a minute. This can't be possible. They're too smart for that. It's four-dimensional chess. Does anyone know what that means? I know what that means. You know what it means? They can't believe what the hell is going on with our country. Under my leadership, we had for the first time American energy independence and also very low prices. And even energy dominance. We were going to dominate the entire world on energy. And we were bigger than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined within a very short period of time. We're going to be dominant. Now Biden is begging and pleading with OPEC, but instead of increasing production, they're cutting it off. Think of it. Oil has reached an all-time high. Let's not go for oil anymore. And we have more than anybody. We gave you the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts in American history. By contrast, the radical Democrat Congress passed one of the largest tax hikes in American history. It was the largest tax hike, I believe, in American history. Under the Trump administration, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world with no inflation. Biden and the Democrat Congress created the worst inflation in 50 years, 9.1%, but it's much higher than that. You see your bills, it's much higher. I rebuilt our military, including our nuclear capability, which hopefully we'll never have to use. And the creation of Space Force, first time since Air Force, 79 years. 79 years ago, we did Air Force. This was Space Force, new branch. And it's turning out to be very, very powerful and important. They surrendered our strength and turned Afghanistan into the greatest humiliation our country has ever had. And now we have a war between Russia and Ukraine with potentially hundreds of thousands of people dying. That would never, ever, ever in a million years have happened if I were president. And in addition to that, the oil prices would have been low enough that they wouldn't have been able to afford the war. But we didn't even need that. Putin would have never done it. I know him well. The election was rigged and stolen, and now our country is being destroyed. I ran twice, I won twice, and did much better the second time than I did the first. Getting millions more votes in 2020 than we got in 2016. And likewise, getting more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country by far. And now, in order to make our country successful, safe, and glorious again, I will probably have to do it again. Thank you very much, everyone. But first, we have to win a historic victory for the Republican Party this November. Right here in Texas, you have the opportunity to defeat a man who is against God, guns, and oil. That's pretty bad. Texas, we're talking about. God's guns and oil. Beto O'Rourke. Beto. He's another beauty. He will abolish oil, abolish our borders, and abolish your Second Amendment. That's what it is. Remember when he got up and he was pandering to the Democrats and he said he's going to get rid of your guns? In contrast, you have a wonderful man. He's a wonderful man. Your Governor, Greg Abbott. He's strong on borders. He supports our police. And he's turned Texas into a gigantic jobs magnet. He's done a great job. So I want you to get out and vote for Greg Abbott. He's a very, very good person, a very special man. In addition, Texas needs to reelect your outstanding friend of mine, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Dan? Come on up, Dan. Dan was in charge of my campaign in Texas, and we won big. Dan has been a tireless champion for border security, and he will do whatever it takes to stop this invasion this is really an assault, isn't it, Dan? It's an assault on Texas, but it's an assault on the United States. Dan backs the blue 100%. He personally worked to ensure that every Texas law enforcement officer is a bulletproof vest. He wants to crack down on far-left district attorneys, and he strongly resisted COVID lockdowns and mandates to keep Texas free. And when your state faced an energy crisis caused by the radical left, he showed true leadership, demanding the resignation of the entire Public Utility Commission. So I will tell you, he's an incredible guy, a wonderful man. He headed up my campaign twice in Texas. How did we do, Dan? We won. We won big. Dan Patrick will never let you down. So, Dan, please say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. President. After Hurricane Harvey, within days, you were not far away here in Corpus Christi. And whether it was Harvey relief, building a strong oil and gas industry, making crime numbers go down, securing the border, giving us the strongest economy that we have had in decades, you made the life of every one of 29 million Texans better. And Joe Biden has made the life of every Texan worse. And we do not want Joe Biden's America in Texas. Mr. President, this is your home. We love you. Thank you what you've done for Texas and America.
Thank you, Dan. Good job, Dan. That's great. Great guy, great man. Dan is running against, by the way, a Biden-loving radical Democrat named Mike Collier, who has vowed to push Texas far, far, far to the left. Not what you want for this state. Mike Collier will fight for open borders, sanctuary cities, Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi's gun control agenda, and Green New Deal-inspired energy policies, which will close up everything in Texas. It's going to be a disaster. So Texas does not need a Biden-Pelosi stooge. Lieutenant Governor, you need a great person. It's a very important, I don't know if you know, in Texas, the position of lieutenant governor is a very powerful position. A lot of power, a lot of things happen, a lot of things are under the control of the lieutenant governor. And Dan Patrick has been absolutely incredible, strong, powerful, with a big, beautiful heart. And he's my friend. Thank you very much, Dan. Great job. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. This election day, you also need to get out and vote for your incredible Attorney General. I know he's a little controversial, but he's tough, okay? It's okay. I mean, he's a little controversial. Probably say, oh, I wish you didn't say it. They know it already, Ken. Ken, they know it. And you know what? Being controversial is okay. It's okay. One of the reasons he's controversial, because he does things. No state attorney general in America is tougher or stronger than Ken in terms of what he does for crime and against crime. And he's a legal powerhouse. He really is. Every day, Ken gets up and holds Joe Biden's feet to the fire. He does it as well as anybody there is in the country. He sued the Biden administration over the horrible open border policies and asylum rules that they instituted. All they had to do is leave Tom Homan's ideas alone. Tom Homan. Is Tom Homan, by the way, central casting? He's central casting. He stood up to Biden's illegal targeting of parents at school board meetings. He's taking on Big Pharma like nobody else and the Marxist radicals to stop their use of puberty blockers to a multitude of minor children. Can you imagine we're even talking about it? He fights for parental rights. Can you imagine we're fighting for parental rights? Who ever heard of fighting for everybody? You have parental rights. Now, today, it's a big subject politically. It's ridiculous. And earlier this year, Ken scored a gigantic victory over the Biden administration, blocking their extreme environmental policies, including their destructive moratorium on oil and gas leasing on public lands. Remember, I used to tell you he's not telling the truth. Whenever he needed to say in debates, he'd say, oh, no, I'm all for oil and gas. But it turned out to be false. We got him on the last question of the second debate. I said, oh, wait a minute. I felt like Perry Mason. I said, wait a minute. He just said it. He's not. But nobody listened. Although, actually, you did. We got a lot of votes, didn't we? Huh? Got more votes than any sitting president in history. Ken is also a strong voice for election integrity. You know that. And he's running against an ultra-leftist named Rochelle Garza. Real beauty, that one. Garza is an open borders fanatic who slandered the heroes of Border Patrol, calling them shameless and cowardly. I don't think we can allow that to happen. We can't allow that to happen. She opposes the border wall. She opposes my remain in Mexico. How about that? I got a policy. I got to get that done with Mexico, the great president of Mexico. He's a wonderful guy. He's a socialist, but can't have everything, right? But I got along with him great, but we got it done. And we got a lot of things done with Mexico. We got 28,000 free soldiers. Remember that? You know how we got them, right? I said, listen, you have 28,000. I need 28,000 soldiers while we're building the wall. And the people in Mexico, the representative said, no, we're not doing that, of course. And I met somebody in the State Department, a very good woman, but she's been dealing with Mexico for 25 years. She said, sir, you can't get that. They'll never do it. I've been asking for many years. I said, really? Let's see what happens. I guarantee you we'll get it. Then I gave her 10 other things that we should get, because I went to the Border Patrol, and you two guys gave me the things that you most wanted, 10 things. And they ended up making it 12. I said, I'll get 12 too. And frankly, the soldiers were less than some of the things we got. Is that right? So I said, these are the 12 things we want, but we immediately want 28,000 free soldiers. And everybody in the room laughed. I thought I was playing games. They laughed. And I said, you'll give it to us. They said, no, we won't be able to give that to you, sir, 28,000 free soldiers. I said, yes, you will. You'll give it to us. And he said, no, we won't. I said, okay, here's the story. This was on a Friday. I said, on Monday morning, everything that Mexico sells into the United States will have a 25% tariff placed on it, including the 32% of the car business that you stole out of the United States over the last 30 years. And this representative, who is a very good man, looked at me and said, sir, perhaps you misunderstood me. We would love to provide you with 28,000 soldiers. It's true. That's true, Doc Ronnie. We would love to provide you with those soldiers, and we did. That's why we had such good numbers. We had 28,000 soldiers, Mexican soldiers, on our border as we built the border wall. And the border wall was really a big reason, the border wall and the soldiers, that our numbers were the best in the history of our country. And they were only going to get better if they just left it alone. They were only going to get better. If elected, Garza would make the worst border crisis in our history much, much worse. Can't be worse than it is now. I don't know how the hell we're saying that. But maybe they can make it worse. I don't know. Rochelle Garza is also a sworn enemy of election integrity. She'll lay the groundwork for the radical Democrats to steal the state of Texas. And if that happens, there will never be another Republican president in the history of our country. It won't happen. They won't give it up. They will cheat, and they will steal, and they will rob it, and they're not going to give it up. So we can't let that happen. So unless you want to destroy Texas and America, get out and vote for Ken Paxton. Ken, come here, Ken. Come up, Ken, please. He's a good man.
Hey, so Mr. President, Dan, Patrick, and I were over here asking, how does this president draw a crowd year after year? Thousands of people, unlike anybody we've ever seen. And so I've been sitting here trying to figure it out. And the question I thought was, well, maybe he's a great speaker. Well, Mr. President, that's true. You are a great speaker. But I don't think that's why everybody's here. Is it because he's a great businessman? He clearly is a great businessman, but I don't think that's why everybody's here. Maybe it's because you're a great golfer. I don't think that's why everybody's here. This president and the people that come to see him are here because, in my opinion, you tell me if I'm right, he's done more for the American people than any president in our lifetime. However, I have one suggestion, because it sounds like there might be a possibility that he's running for president again. Okay, one suggestion: he's got a great slogan, a great theme, Make America Great Again. But if he's going to run again, maybe a little tweak could be, instead of Make America Great Again, Make America Texas. What do you think?
Thank you, Ken. Get out and vote for Ken. He's great. You can't have these lunatics get into office. They'll never leave. They'll never leave. We're also joined by another friend of mine, Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller. He's great. Look, Sid, stand up. He was on television before the last campaign. They said Texas is going to be close. You know why they do that? They say it's going to be close because if they can cheat enough to win, the people don't go crazy. But he said, I don't know where you come from, but I come from Texas. Texas will not be close. It's going to be a landslide for Trump, and he turned out to be right. Right, Sid? So get out and vote for Sid. He's a fantastic guy. We have members of Congress. These are friends of mine. They've been through the wars with me, and they're incredible. Pat Fallon. Pat, thank you. Thank you, Pat. Great guy, too. Michael Cloud. Michael, thank you, Michael. Beautiful family, Michael. A man that I love, this guy. I didn't know, was he a better admiral, doctor, or congressman, politician? I'm not sure. I think he was better actually at being a doctor because he said he was so healthy, you know? But he said I could lose a couple of pounds, and I didn't like him for that. I said, don't say that. I don't want you to say that. That made me very angry, but that was okay. He meant it. Unfortunately, he meant it. But Ronnie Jackson is an incredible guy, an incredible man, and a great doctor, too, I'll tell you. Great at everything. Highly respected admiral, doctor, and congressman. How many people can say that? Which label do you like best, if they call you a label? Do you like Mr. Congressman? What do you like? He likes admiral. Let's call him admiral from now on. And a man that a little bit reminds me, another tough cookie. This guy's great, and he's become a great friend of mine. He wrote a very successful book talking about the election fraud, and he didn't hold back, and he never does. He's a real patriot who loves this state very much and our country. Troy Nels. Troy, thank you very much. He's a tough cookie. He's a tough one, right, Ronnie? Good. And we love him. Thank you. The next congressman from Texas's 38th Congressional District, Wesley Hunt. Wesley, great job. They're going to have a baby in a couple of months. Good luck with that. You're going to have a baby, beautiful baby. Good luck, Wesley. State Representative Ryan Guillen. Ryan, where's Ryan? Thank you, Ryan. And somebody that's been fighting election fraud right from the beginning, Steve Toth. Where's Steve? Steve, great job. Senate candidates, the state Senate, Peter Flores, Kevin Sparks, And you know this person, Mays Middleton. Where's Mays? Very good. Good job. You're doing a good job. State Senate candidates, Adam Hinoja. Adam Hinoja. And I'm giving you my complete and total endorsement, Adam. We didn't get it out yet. Adam has my complete and total endorsement. And it was approved by Dan Patrick, so how bad can that be, right? Good, Dan. Republican, thank you very much, Adam. Good luck. I hear you're doing great. Republican nominee, and you know that this is a great person, County Judge Connie Scott. Where's Connie? Connie Scott. Great. And Connie, also tonight, you have my complete and total endorsement, okay? Complete. And the great sheriff, I just met him and his incredible family, Sheriff J.C. Hooper. Thank you, Sheriff. Great job. Central casting, he's central casting. And then Bob Jones has been so good to us. He's been so great. Bob Jones of the Bob Jones Show in Corpus Christi. Bob Jones. And an incredible patriot, the greatest purchaser of advertising in history. There's never been a man that bought ads at a better price than this guy. I mean, I don't know how much money there is in pillows, but I never saw so many ads. He's the greatest. By the way, he makes great product and all that stuff. But even more important to me, I want him to buy my ads. If he bought my ads, I could get 17 times more ads for the buck. He's the greatest purchaser of advertising in history, Mike Lindell. And a great patriot, by the way. And they took his phone, you know that, the FBI pulled him. They take Mike's phone. They pulled him aside, give us your phone. We want that phone right now. Give us your phone. It's disgusting what's happening in this country. We're also honored to be joined by retired Navy fighter pilot and Pearl Harbor veteran. He's 101 years old, and he looks better than I do. I swear he looks better than I do. Bob Batterson. Where's Bob? Where's Bob? He looks better than Trump. I didn't think he was a day over 99. I swear, he's 101. No, he looks great. Thank you very much, Bob. Incredible. When Republicans take back Congress this November, we'll fight for the people of Texas, and we will win for the people of Texas. We promise you, all of us, we promise you, right? One of the first things we must do is stand up for parents' rights, and we'll get the critical race theory out of our schools, out of our military. I had it out of our military. I had it out of our schools. And they came in. The first day, they signed an executive order putting it back. We'll get it out of every part of our federal, state, and local governments. And at long last, every parent in America must be empowered to opt out of the forced indoctrination in the classroom and send their child to the public, private, charter, religious, or home school of their choice. We will also keep men out of women's sports. Does that make sense? Oh, boy. That's so bad. You know, my people keep saying, these are people that get paid too much money. They keep saying, sir, I don't think you should talk. It's not politically correct. I said, keeping men out of women's sports. And, you know, I tell the story. I don't know if anybody heard it. Probably did. Should I or not? Should I tell it or not? All right. But, you know, I talk about the swimmer who we met. She's beautiful, lovely, great swimmer. And she fought very hard, years and years of competition. She wants to break the record of the United States. And she's in a meet, 1/16 of a second. That's what she has to. 1/16 of a second. And she's going to do it. And she worked so hard. And the meet came, and it was great fanfare. Her parents were there. Everybody was there. They were all rooting for her. She's really talented, really good. And she stood up at the blocks, and she's ready to go. But she looked down to the left, and she saw about 6 young ladies that she's been competing against since before high school. Recognized all of them, said hello, hi, good luck. Then she looked down to the right, and she saw a few people, and then she saw this giant. standing right next to her, with a wingspan somewhat larger than Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. He was a giant. And she said to herself, I don't recognize her. This was the largest woman he had ever seen. She had never seen anything quite like it, but she didn't know. But, you know, because of the fact she's never heard of this person, she figured she can't swim very well, so she wasn't concerned at the size. You know, size isn't everything, right? So the meet started, and it was a horrible thing happened. You probably heard, right? She was badly injured during the meet because the person on her right, this giant person, they actually, and believe it or not, this is acceptable, it was a woman in a man's body. They say this. Can you believe I'm saying this? But it's a woman. This is acceptable. This talk is, but basically this woman in a man's body went by her so fast, she was so badly hurt, that the wind burn was horrible. She suffered atrocious wind burn because the speed that he was going was something that she's never quite experienced. And he beat the record. She wanted to beat it by 1/8 of a second. The person to her right beat it by 38 seconds. 38 seconds. And the better story is the weightlifter, a young woman lifting, and she was lifting and lifting, and she was going to break the record. The United States record, I don't know what the number was, but let's say it was about 212 pounds. She was going to lift 212 pounds over it. That's a lot. Do you think I could lift 212 pounds over my head? I don't know. I don't know. They say do it. Yeah, bring some weights up here. 212 pounds, and she got up and she went, oh, I'm going to do it. Mom, Dad, I'm so proud of you being here. Thank you very much. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. She got up and, you know, they put 1/8 of an ounce on one side, 1/8 of an ounce on the other, these big barbells, and she got it up. Okay. Didn't work, okay? I don't have to go through the whole thing, right? She couldn't. And then this young lady came up, who was a young gentleman a short time before. And he walks up to the barbells. I said, have you lifted before? No, not much. And he looks down. He wins. He could have lifted about 150 pounds more over his head. It's crazy what's going on in our country. And do you know how bad that is for women? That disrespects women. That disrespects women. Okay? And when they tell me it's politically incorrect, please don't speak about it. I'm going to speak about it. And I think the people here and the people in Texas want to speak about it. No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental consent. Another one of our highest priorities under a Republican Congress will be to stop left-wing censorship and to restore free speech in America. Go out and sign up, by the way, for Truth Social. Hey, did you see that Truth Social for the last 4 days, 5 days, was #1 over TikTok and Twitter and everything? Number one. TikTok and Twitter, and these incredible women from North Carolina. How many is this? Tell me, look at these beautiful people. They're rich as hell, too. You know, they're rich women. They travel all over the country. They follow the Trump tour. Look at how beautiful they are. So and you're not supposed to say that, by the way. I'm sorry I insulted you by saying that. I hope you'll understand. You know, you're not supposed to say a woman's beautiful anymore. That's like politically totally unacceptable. But you are beautiful. So let me ask you, what number is this? How many rallies have you gone to? How much? 93. Can you believe that? 93. And they're all happily married. They live in beautiful homes. So are your husbands okay with this deal that you're doing? Think of that. Think of that. You're great. Thank you very much. It's an honor. It's an honor. Really a great honor. 93. We'll have a celebration when we break 100, right? Okay? Thank you very much. It's so great. And everywhere the Republican Party has the chance, we must pass critical election integrity reforms, including universal voter ID, Citizenship confirmation. Can you imagine? We'd like to confirm that you're a citizen. We don't want to give you that. There's only one reason they don't, because they cheat. Otherwise, they'd have no problem with it. No more fake drop boxes. No private money pouring into our local election offices. $416 million from Facebook. And ultimately, we need same-day voting. You know that. No, just all we want is paper ballots, the old-fashioned way. That's the way you're going to stop. Would you agree with that, Mike? That's the way you're going to stop it. It's the only way. We don't need satellites sending the signals all over the place. Somebody votes. Let's see. I'm going to vote for Trump. I love Trump. I'm going to vote for Trump. Trump. Bing, bing, bing goes all over the world. Bum, 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 comes back Biden. How did that happen? We are just 17 days away from the most important midterm election in American history, and we need a landslide so big that the radical left cannot rig it or steal it. We have to have it big. Early voting begins this Monday, October 24th. But far better than voting by mail-in ballot. We don't like mail-in ballots. What you do is you go out and vote on Election Day. It's better. And a lot of people fight me. Sir, supposing there's a hurricane, supposing there's bad weather. Well, you're just much better off. It's harder to cheat when you do it that way. And they cheat like dogs. So try and, look, it's better than not voting. But you don't want to send it in that way. You want to go out on Election Day and just storm those places. But whatever you do, go out and vote. And if you care about election integrity, volunteer as an election worker, poll watcher, or challenger. We need you, because they do that. They have all these people. A lot of them are thugs, you know. A lot of them are hired thugs where they threaten our people. You know that, right? We had in Pennsylvania, we had thugs telling people to get the hell out of here. You get out of here. And it was a terrible thing. This is the year we're going to take back the House. We're going to take back the Senate. We're going to take back America. And in 2024, most importantly, we are going to take back our magnificent White House. We're going to take it back. Together, we'll fight for more jobs for American families, fair trade for American workers, and more American factories forging more products stamped with that beautiful phrase, you know what it is? Made in the USA. Made in the USA. It's a beautiful phrase. We'll shut down Biden's border disaster, reinstitute our strong Remain in Mexico policy. How about getting that? Remain in Mexico instead of the United States. Isn't that nice? You think that was easy? No. They ended it as soon as they could, and then we won in court. But they want to end it. Strengthen the patriots of ICE and Border Patrol, and we will again end catch and release. We will end chain migration. We will end the visa lottery. We will end illegal immigration once and for all. Look, once and for all, we're going to end it. And you're going to come into our country. You're going to come in legally. We want people to come into our country. They have to come in legally. We will stop the crime wave in Democrat-run cities. We will give our police the power they need and the respect they deserve. And we will not take legal protection away from our police. They want to take legal protection so that somebody can sue a police officer and tell him to go out and hire a lawyer. That's just what he wants, is a lawyer. We will restore law and order in America. We will hold China accountable for the unleashing of the virus upon the world. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend the Second Amendment. And we will proudly uphold the Judeo-Christian values and principles of our nation's founding. We will restore patriotic education to our schools, and we will teach our children to love their country, honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. Always. Our great American flag. In conclusion, our MAGA movement, Make America Great Again. Remember that. Make America Great Again. That's what it stands for. Is by far the greatest political movement in the history of our country. There's never been anything like this. And if I was telling a little fib, they would have me on the front page of every newspaper. They've never even challenged. The greatest in history. Look what we've done. Together, we're standing up against some of the most menacing forces, entrenched interests, and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. despite great dangers outside, and these are outside dangers that are tremendous, our biggest threat remains the sick, sinister, and evil people from within our country. But no matter how big or powerful the corrupt radical left Democrats that we are fighting against may be, you must never forget, this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This nation belongs to you. This is your home, this is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. From Houston to Austin, from Dallas to El Paso, from College Station to Corpus Christi, and from the Red River to the Rio Grande, the people of Texas live and breathe the fierce spirit of independence. The Lone Star State has always embraced the cause of American freedom like no other, like no other. This is the state where William Travis, James Bowie, and Davy Crockett, the great Davy Crockett, made their last stand at the Alamo, the beautiful Alamo. This is the state where a small band of patriots at the Battle of Gonzales, armed with a single cannon, stared down a foreign army and declared, "Come and take it," right? Come and take it. Come and take it. Come on. Come and take it. And Texas is the state where generations of farmers and ranchers, sheriffs and lawmen, cowboys, cattle hands, prospectors, pioneers helped build up the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, and where the stock market finished the worst first half of the year since 1872. Likewise, we are a nation that has the highest energy costs in its history. We are no longer energy independent or energy dominant, as we were just 2 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and many others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. Yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other country. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal, yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal will lead to our destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all electric cars, even though they can't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when an unlimited amount of gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States, but not available in China. We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the United States, just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. What other country would do such a thing? We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. And we are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your commander-in-chief, and for 4 straight years, it didn't happen. And China with Taiwan is next. We are a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was a Russian disinformation ploy when the FBI knew it wasn't, and a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a president who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead our country, and is now casually talking about nuclear war with Russia, which would be World War III and far more devastating than any of the previous wars because of the weaponry that no one even wants to think about. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are the enemy of the people. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant and out of control like never before, and where more people died of COVID in 2021 than in 2020. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon and China to use the trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And just 2 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. They respected the United States. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to anywhere around the world. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. We are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool of ruin, whose supply chain is broken, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every single list. We are a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them, beat up and kill their workers and customers, and leave with armloads of goods, but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words law enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and all other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than formula for our beautiful little babies, and where mothers and fathers are scared with Halloween that their children will be given deadly drugs like fentanyl by sick and demented people. A nation whose once revered airports are dirty, crowded mess. You sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when they will, where ticket prices have tripled. They don't have the pilots to fly the planes. They don't have qualified air traffic controllers, and they just don't know what they're doing. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, willpower, and strength. We are a nation that has lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 2 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will stand up to the radical left Democrats and the dangerous and unpatriotic rhinos, and we will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. We will never give in. We will never give up. And we will never, ever back down. As long as we are confident, united, and loyal to the cause, the tyrants we're fighting do not stand even a chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and to God alone. The silent majority is back and stronger than ever before. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey we are on together has only just begun, and it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God, So with the help of everyone here today and citizens all across our land, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Texas. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.